I'm Dr. Kimberly Manning.
And this is Dr. Ashley McMullen. And you're listening to the Human Doctor Podcast, where we explore the human side of medicine, along with teaching, living, learning, and all things in between. Using the power of storytelling, conversation, and connectedness.
Hey, we're two dope academic internal medicine doctors, but we ain't your doctors. So if you perceive anything we say here as medical advice, no, it ain't that. Also, the things we say, they only reflect our brilliant Black woman magic mind and not our employers.
You could have been anywhere, y'all, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate you. Let's go.
Recording is happening whether I have a story or not, she said. You're not playing those reindeer games with me today?
No, not today, my friends.
How you doing?
I'm good. I like these kind of slower days, of which today is one. It is Labor Day. You know, I do tend to work from home on Mondays, so I'm doing some of my normal stuff, but it just feels like a more chill pace.
I like a chill pace.
Yeah.
Chill paces are good.
Yeah. What about you?
I had a pretty chill pace this weekend. It's been very warm in Atlanta, but still nice outside. I got to watch a lot of college football, which is something that I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also started and finished a book that was short that is really old that you've probably read before. Have you ever read The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin?
Yes, I have. I need to find my copy because there's literally like highlights and handwriting all over it.
Yeah, I listened to it and I absolutely need to hold it in my hands because I kept having to rewind it and listen to things. It is just so deep and so prophetic and insightful. My goodness.
Yeah. It's been a minute. You just inspired me. I got to pick it up again. How was the narration?
The narration was excellent. I think I'm trying to remember his name. You know, the Jesse, what's his name? He was in Rent. Remember? Dang, you kind of young though.
See, I knew it was coming.
I'm trying to remember Jesse's last name. Is it William? I can't remember. Either way, he was the brother in the original Broadway show Rent that was partnered with Angel. All my Rent folk, y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. I think he was also on one of the CSI shows or something like that. Anyway, he's easy on the eyeballs, I will also add.
Oh.
But he's also easy on the earlobes because earlobes, no, eardrums. Yeah, his narration was excellent. And I don't know, like James Baldwin, man, that was just a thinking, unapologetic mofo. He was talking about suffering and how he is not trivializing suffering, but he believes that out of suffering can come something, uniquely special. Like, and I paraphrase, but he said the person who does not learn how to suffer never grows up.
Wow.
And I think what he was saying is basically trying to describe, resilience and grit before anybody else was doing that. Because that book was written in 1962.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is so true. Because when we think about how, especially I think from the perspective as a parent, how much we like helicopter on our kids, and even as a clinician educator on our students, we rescue people so quickly from things. And again, I like that he gave the disclaimer, like, look, we are not looking to have you work 120 hours like I did, and we're not looking to make you suffer. But there is something to be said about climbing a mountain and then being able to look back on it and say, you know what? I did that. And it was not fun while I was doing it, but my legs sure are stronger and my lungs sure have more capacity than they did before I started.
Wow.
Yeah. I was so smart.
I know. That's a great summary. I've been thinking about books because I always think about books, but I've just been kind of fascinated by the New York Times, 100 best books of the 21st century list.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Of the 21st, well, it was of the first quarter, right? 2000 through 2025, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I mean, a lot of them I have not read. to
Mhm.
be honest. And I think it's hard to, make everybody happy.
Yep.
But there
Yep.
were some gems on there, and it just made me want to go back and read a few that are on there. I read Panchinko for the first time over the summer. Loved it. Loved it. I
Mm-hmm.
really find that I have a deep appreciation for historical fiction because it
Mm-hmm.
just highlights parts of history and lived experiences that I just would not have really thought about in depth otherwise. I also read Trust by Hernan Diaz. I think that was a Pulitzer winner.
Okay.
It is such an interesting read
Mm.
because the way that the author does it is just like, it's these kind of competing narratives kind of like talking to each other. And I was just like,
Mm.
how did he do that? Like,
Right.
it
Right.
was, it took me a minute to kind of understand what was happening. But once I did, it was just like really fascinating. Like I couldn't stop thinking about it for a while, just in terms of both how wealth gets distributed and then how folks who inherit that wealth see themselves and the
Mm-hmm.
narratives that we tell ourselves. Fascinating.
Mm. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, when I looked at that list, I did the thing that middle children do, which is where you're going to see what got left off, who got left off.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't help it. I get it honest, y'all.
Yeah.
But I did from that list, I think I was inspired to try a couple books. I think I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow
Mm,
from that list. I really enjoyed it.
mm.
An American Marriage made the list.
Oh
Uh,
my God.
yeah,
Yes.
a beautiful book. The author actually
So
lives
good.
right here in Atlanta and just be living her best ordinary life while we roll up on her and fangirl as book nerds.
Can you invite her on the show, please?
I know, right? I like a book that isn't predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And that book wasn't predictable. One book that I was disappointed that I didn't see on there was The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yeah.
That book
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
absolutely, positively brilliant. And then
Mm.
the other book, I don't think Ya Jesse's Homegoing was on there.
Ooh, I don't think I saw that either.
I don't think that was on there. And that's probably the best book I have read, probably in the last 10 years. I'm going to go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and just say it. That book was amazing. I think the exciting issue, this is a good problem to have. It just means because all of the people that I'm thinking of are Black authors.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some really interesting, creative thinking that's coming out of the minds of people right now, all kinds of people. And that list just gives you something to work with.
I know. I love it.
The show.
Alas, this is not book talk, although I feel like we should start a TikTok channel and just talk books.
I know, right?
But even better is having the story told to you and narrated by the author, particularly an author as esteemed and talented and wonderful and beautiful and all the things.
A narrator whose name you actually remember, unlike me, Jesse from Rent.
Jesse. Just Jesse from Rent. You got it.
Jesse from Rent and CSI. People are gonna be listening and say like, "It's Jesse Baba." I'm like, I still don't know, right? It's just
You're
some.
going to remember it literally as soon as we're done with this
Yeah,
episode.
I know what he looks like. Okay,
Well, in any case, I am excited for your story more than anything.
thank you.
So, without further ado, what is the what?
The what is agency?
Agency?
Agency.
Agency. Okay.
Agency.
That's a new one.
I was trying to get cute with my word today. Agency, as in like agency over oneself.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah,
This is a good
yeah,
topic. Yeah.
yeah. Not like the Central Intelligence one. Um, I'm going to take you back to a few years ago. I was on the hospital service, and I remember that it was the winter because the Carolina Panthers were going to the Super Bowl. The significance of the Carolina Panthers going to the Super Bowl is that I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers was Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton is from Southwest Atlanta. He is a hometown hero, particularly in what we affectionately call the SWATs, Southwest Atlanta. And the city was buzzing. They were excited for him. So in addition to, everybody who liked the Panthers being excited about them going to the Super Bowl and people like my daddy who just love when a black quarterback is going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were particularly excited that this, hometown kid who played rec ball in Atlanta and who a few times, in his college career fell hard on his luck, had made it this far, and was winning. And it was really looking like they were going to blow out the other team. And my son was a really big fan that year of Cam, but so was one of my patients.
Mm-hmm.
I had this elderly woman on my service. She was an octogenarian and a lifelong lover of live sports, particularly football, but she was really hyped about Cam. The thing about her is that she'd come to the hospital after she'd had a fall, but shortly after she got to the hospital, she would have these moments of being delirious. There were things about when you saw her that made you wonder, like, is she taking care of herself good? But for the most part, she was kind of in and out of being cognitively right.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it was delirium in the hospital, but it was hard to say what else was going on. And so I came on to service after the patient had been there for about a week. And when I got there, the team signing out to me, they were like, yo, she needs to go to a skilled nursing facility. We looked over everything. There's no family to help take care of her. Her mentation, she definitely has some delirium, but there's a dementia component. I just don't think it's safe for her to go home. At this point, we're just waiting for placement. She will not be difficult to place. She's got coverage. She's got a payer
Mm-hmm.
source. It'll be easy. Really nothing to do. Medically, she's ready to go. Although she does sundown a little bit, which is how we refer to people who get a little delirious at a certain period of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. And I said, anything else I need to know? And they're like, well, the one curveball is she really, 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 really don't want to go no nursing
Mm.
home.
Yeah.
Like she cognitively intact enough to let you know, hell no, I won't go.
It's a small caveat.
Just a small caveat. And I was like, well, that's a kind of a big deal though, right? And they're like, yeah, but she don't have no family and it's not safe. And, so it was just kind of like, that is that. Next
Mm.
patient on the list. And this bothered me so much, right? Because all I could think about was how this was like someone who basically fell. A neighbor called 911, brought her to the hospital. And now you're talking about she can't go home at all. All right. So I go to see the patient and I happen to catch her in one of the times when she is very lucid.
Mm-hmm.
Was watching the news. They were talking all about, leading up to the Super Bowl. And she was talking about asking me, as soon as I walked in, she said, when do I get to go? Because I want to watch this game on my couch. I'm gonna drink me a Bud Light and I'm gonna pop me some popcorn on my stove, not microwave. And I'm gonna watch Cam Newton whoop up on these boys and take home this Super Bowl. That's
Mm.
what I'm gonna do. And I was like, huh, okay. And I said, well, right now I'm just getting to know you, but I also want you to know that it's been some concern about you may be needing a little bit of help when you're at home. She was like, I don't need no help. I need to go home, sit on my couch and watch this game. And today is Monday and this game is coming up on Sunday. So I don't care what you do between now and then, but I better be home at my house on Sunday. And I was like, okay. I was like, who's in your family lives around? I was trying to like ask all the questions. She said she got a son. He ain't no count. That's a quote. And she had a brother who, lived, kind of far out. But, for the most part, she had neighbors if she really needed something. But for the most part, she kept to herself and did for herself. I was like, damn, I'm trying to figure this out. So I was like, well, the thinking is that maybe it might be better for you. And she cut me off. She
Mm.
was like, somebody said they're trying to send me to a nursing home. I ain't going to no goddamn nursing home. I'm telling you that right now. So then she goes on to tell me about her home. She told me that she bought that house with her ex-husband, who she'd been split up with for years, almost 50 years before. They bought it and it was like less than $20,000 when she bought it.
Mm.
It is paid for. It's her house. And she said, it ain't in the best neighborhood, but that's my house. I know everything about the neighborhood. I know all the people. I ain't scared of nobody over there. And that's my house. I'm not leaving my house.
Mm.
And she told me about how, like, how they chose the house, how she just liked how it looked and it was a little bit too small for her family, but she liked it. And how she liked her kitchen because it had a big window and she could see out into the neighborhood and see what everybody was doing. And she just loved her house. And how she had a sitting room with a big TV, and the TV was too big for the room, but she liked TV. And she was going to watch that game on her couch. And I walked out of her room and I felt sick.
Mm.
I was like, man, you know, I don't know how I can like ethically feel okay about forcing this woman to go somewhere. So I called my colleague back and I was like, yo, I told her about what happened. And they said, she does have a next of kin. Her son is willing to sign her in. It's just, he's not really in a position to be able to take care of her. And she really does need somebody to help take care of her. And I was like, yeah, but she don't want to go. And I feel like, she's not malnourished enough.
Mm.
They're like, yeah, but he's willing to sign her in and it's not going to be pretty. But, I'm sorry, Kimberly. I'm sorry to put you in this position.
Yeah.
So I am just like so bothered by this. So the story I'm going to tuck inside of this is the story of when I moved into the home I live in right now. Harry and I, when we first got married, we lived in an area of Atlanta called South DeKalb. It's sort of going east in Atlanta. And it is a good like 20 or 30 minutes away from Grady Hospital. And my husband, who's a real estate investor, would always scout out things in town. And it's very hard to get in town in any major metropolitan city. But Atlanta, it was just growing so much that it was hard to find stuff that you could afford. But he found this house and he was like, I found a house and I think it's our house. I really do. I think it's right by Emory. It's not far from Grady. We will never have to get on the highway to go to work and to do the things we need to do. It costs more than the house we're in now, but I think that it will be a good look for us. I'm going to take you to see it. He brings me to see it. I look at it. I was like, no way.
Mm.
But Harry's a real estate investor. He renovates things. He's like, no, trust me. Trust me. I have vision on this. This will be really good for our family. The schools are good. This will change our life. We will spend so much less time in the car. And we decide to take a leap and get this house.
Mm.
And that was like almost, 18 years ago. And we have done so much to this house to make it our home. We completely gutted it. We renovated it. We've added to it, as you know. We've done all sorts of things to this house, but this house is our home. This is where
Mm.
our kids grew up. This is where we had a playground in the backyard that said Isaiah and Zachary's Fort on the back. We had big parties for our kids back here. We had Zachary's baby dedication with a pastor when we first moved in. It's so many special memories in this house. And oftentimes when Harry and I talk about our home, we say, we're gonna grow old here. We are gonna have to grow, we're gonna grow old here. We always talk about what will we do when we can't climb these stairs? What will we do? How can we make this house one that we can, if we can't get around like we do now? And then I try to imagine myself or Harry, where one of us has preceded the other one in death, and one of us falls down or something happens, and someone's not here to like really help out. And you send me to the hospital. And from the hospital, someone makes a decision for me to go live somewhere else for good. This is literally what we were asking this woman to do. What she had done with her home is no different than how I feel about my house.
Mhm.
It would absolutely gut me for somebody to tell me involuntarily that I had to give this house up. And all I could think about was that.
Mm.
All I could think about were the places in my house where I like to do what I like to do, where I like to watch TV, how I like to stand in my kitchen and I can see my neighbor's house and we wave at each other sometimes. All of those things. And I made up my mind right then and there that unless this was imminent danger to this patient, I was sending her home and that she was going to watch Cam Newton on her couch. Come back to see her later on and she was delirious.
Mm.
But she was still in the hospital. So a lot of this delirium was stuff that like I couldn't tell if this happened to her at home or if this was something. So I go back to my team and I say that I just ethically I cannot tell this lady. She's not cognitively off enough for me to tell her she can't go back to her house. We're going to call Adult Protective Services. We're going to check her house out. We're going to make it sure it's not anything extremely dangerous. But we also are going to call everybody we can possibly call that knows and loves her. And we are going to explain to them what's about to happen and how she feels about it. And that's what we did with the help of a medical student who was a dog on a bone. And that medical student called and called and called and called. And you know what? We found family easily. We did. It was not hard. Family was like, what? Wait, what? I didn't even know she was so over there struggling like that. Yeah, sometimes you talk to her and she be talking in circles, but
Mm-hmm.
she's okay. She be working in her garden. Yeah, we'll come by there and see her. There were at least 4 or 5 family members who lived within like a 6-mile radius, all
God.
of whom were like, yeah, we'll see about her. People that like knew them, they're like, oh yeah, this person and that person. It was all these people ready to rally around this lady. And nobody had really thought, to go that hard. But because you're a clinician educator, you sick a medical student on a task like
Mm-hmm.
that, baby, forget about it. So as it turns out, the day before the Super Bowl, she was delirious and I couldn't discharge her. I would love to tell you that, she watched the game on her couch.
Mm-hmm.
But the day that I rounded on her on Super Bowl Sunday, I walked in, I was wearing a Cam Newton jersey. And the medical student on my team had taken one of those church fans
Mm-hmm.
and had color copied a photo of Cam's face and put it on a stick. And I walked in with that shirt on and
Mm-hmm.
I had the thing up to my face. And she was not delirious that day.
Mm.
And she just was so happy that she started crying.
Oh my God.
And I said, but I'm discharging you tomorrow. And we're going to sit you up by the window and we're going to make sure you're not confused. And all your family is going to come see about you and we're going to get you home. And that is exactly what we did. We discharged her home. And you know what? I'm willing to bet you that she got confused at home again. But she had enough agency to know, to be able to tell me that she did not want to go to no nursing home. And with a little bit of trying and a little bit of pausing to think, we were able to realize that there was all kinds of people standing ready to help her and
Mm.
support her. A whole community. You mean to tell me this lady been in this house for over 40 years and ain't nobody in the neighborhood willing to come see about her? Come on now. Come on. And that's literally what I said to my team. And that medical student heard that and was like,
Bet.
give me the ball, coach. I'm running this thing into the end zone.
Mm.
Which unfortunately is not what Cam Newton did. They ended up getting blown out that year. He choked and he was horrible. But and it was really fun to listen to her cuss about it the next day. No, what the F Cam did? He choked. It was awesome.
Or
But
Cam.
we
Yes.
discharged her home.
Mm.
And I think ever since my dad had his moments of delirium,
Mm-hmm.
where he had just enough cognitive function there to be able to be like, why am I confused? Why can't I remember your phone number? Why this? Why does it feel like I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, but I know I'm not? Why? I was like, wow. So I guess I just realized that cognitive function is a spectrum
Mm-hmm.
and it is not like you with it or you not. Like I think I want anybody who takes care of people that are hospitalized or even in a clinic. It
Yeah.
is a big deal when you start making a plan for somebody to not go home.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hell no, I won't go.
Is that the name of the episode?
It really is because that is legit like what for the most part, that's what I took away from my first meeting
I
with her.
love that.
Hell no, I won't go. I almost bought her a pack of Bud Light because I was like, I want you to have some Bud Light, sit on your couch and do what you want to do. That's what I'm gonna want to do at my house.
Yeah. I feel like this is another one of those stories where it's just like I don't need to add any words or commentary, but I'm going to try because I have so many thoughts, in particular, the way that you embedded your story of like what a home really means. I've had so many of these conversations, especially in the clinic that I work with. And I think part of why this story moves me so much is that like I feel that one of the greatest heartaches of my job is seeing so many people like aging without support. And a lot of my patients live in these kind of single room occupancy units in the middle of the city. Like they don't have a lot of social support, or their families like have had to move places outside of the city just because they can't afford to live in San Francisco. But I think that we are so caught up in the fear of people declining and, failing to thrive, so to speak, that you don't actually stop to think about what it means to tell someone that they can't go home anymore. That's really, really hard.
Hmm. Yeah. And you're because you're caught in between like this web of wanting to honor your agency,
Mm-hmm.
and also your legacy, not just your agency, like your legacy too,
Mm-hmm.
but ethically do what's safe and hold true and fast to what you said you would do,
Yeah.
which is to do no harm.
Mm,
Right?
man.
But harm is like a moving target,
Yep. Exactly.
right? So like there's harm, but like to me, the immediate harm was ripping this lady up out of her house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do think that what I learned from that experience is that sometimes you feel like there is absolutely nothing you can do. But a lot of times there is something you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You just haven't gone hard enough.
Yeah.
And granted, for our wellness, I understand. Like people are like, yo, is that your job to be doing all that and smoking all
Mm-hmm.
these people down? And that's a systems issue. And, but, uh, you know, there is a part for me of working at Grady Hospital, as I'm sure it is for you, working with America's Heroes at the VA. Um, that's ministry. And that calls for you to do things that you don't get paid for, that are not in your job description, that you cannot put on your CV. But you were there. And when you closing your eyes at night, you can be like, you know what? That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was good stuff. And that day, that was one of the days where I was like, man, that was good stuff.
I love that.
It was good
And
stuff.
envisioning the community coming together, like that is the piece that I feel is so beautiful about the story, and wish that we could replicate over and over again for our folks.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't take as much sometimes as we think, but it's one of the most beautiful things about communities like that community in Southwest Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people have these ideas, air quotes, of what the hood is like or whatever. But for those of us who grew up, in working poor and working class areas, we know that, you know, you outside and you doing something you don't have no business doing, there's a neighbor that's gonna gather you right on up. Um, if you're in danger, there's somebody that will take care of you.
Yeah.
If you got something bleeding on you, but you around the corner, there's somebody that you can go to. Um, and that's always been how our communities are. And they are still that way, despite
Yeah.
what people will tell you. And people were just so ready to rally around her. They were like, "What? Yeah, hell yeah. What? Yeah, we come see about her. Oh my God, we didn't even know that was all going on." And the patient was very proud too. She was like, "I don't want y'all up in my house."
Mm-hmm.
But she got to go home.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, she went home, and I don't recall her like having to come back to the hospital and
Yep.
go to a nursing home or anything.
Yep.
So,
Man,
yeah,
you understood the assignment. I'm glad that she was on your team.
I'm glad she was on my team, but I'm also glad that medical student was on my team.
Oh yeah.
And I also just want to stick a pin in, there's always an occasion for humanism. There's always an occasion for us to pause and see where we intersect with our patients, because that is what will give you the zeal to do something. Because all I could imagine when I was walking through the hallway was somebody in about 30 years peeling me up out of this house. because I tripped on a loose carpet and fell
Mm,
and got a little bit confused because you got me somewhere that I have not been before.
exactly.
And how nonchalant people just are like, oh yeah, you got to go to a
Yeah.
sniff, skilled nursing facility, like DC to sniff, nothing to do. And
Gosh.
you know, a sniff ain't nothing to sniff at.
Exactly. Well,
Yes.
if you do slip, 30 years from now, make sure they call me. I'll come get you.
I absolutely will. Yes. Or they better come and get one of these two kids. We made a whole fort in our backyard for her back in the day. Um,
Yep.
but yeah,
Mm.
just because somebody's growing older does not mean what they think don't matter.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, we gotta do better. Well, sis, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Labor Day. To our listeners, I hope you got a little time off. And while you have some time off, that you log on to see if you are definitely registered to vote
Mm-hmm.
and that you call somebody that you care about and tell them what your plan is to vote. Is it going to be early? Is it going to be on a day of? Is it going to be absentee? Just make sure that it's something.
Absolutely. And if you need somebody to tell, just drop it in our comments.
That's right. That's
And
right.
leave a rating.
And leave a rating. All right. Well, peace up, A Town down, and East Bay Oak Town down.
All right. I like that. All right, sis.
All right, sis.
Bye.
Bye.
That wraps up this week's episode of the Human Doctor Podcast.
Special thanks to our favorite brother gastroenterologist, Dr. Chuma Obiname, for the beats. Shout out to the Dr. Ashley McMullen for editing and production.
Mad love to our podcast family at The Nocturnist and the Clinical Problem Solvers, our Med Twitter fam.
And especially shout out to all of you, our listeners.
Until next week, remember,
we see you and you are enough. Holla!